Hello, Los Angeles Dodgers fans. We've got fresh, exclusive videos and the latest updates just for you. Before we dive in, make sure to join our channel and hit that like button. This is the best way to stay on top of all the breaking news. Bryce Harper being announced by the Dodgers would immediately send shockwaves through the entire baseball world. And honestly, it would feel like the kind of move that changes the landscape overnight. You can already picture the headlines, the social media frenzy, the way every fan base would be recalculating their entire season. It's not just about adding a star, it's about what that star represents. A bold statement that the Dodgers are not just chasing championships, but trying to dominate the narrative. And if we're talking about a player like Harper, who has always carried that big moment energy, the question becomes less about what he can do and more about how he will alter the identity of the team. Dodgers fans would be buzzing with excitement, but there would also be that undercurrent of pressure, because when you bring in a player of this magnitude, expectations become almost impossible to manage. Now, let's talk about the immediate reaction you'd expect from the league, because this kind of signing doesn't happen quietly. Rival teams would instantly start evaluating their own rosters, thinking about how to respond, and whether they should make moves to keep pace. The Dodgers have always been known for their ability to outspend and outmaneuver, but signing Harper would be a level above, almost like they're rewriting the rules. It's the kind of move that forces everyone else to play catch-up, and you can bet that other teams would start making calls, offering trades, and shifting strategies. The domino effect would be real, and you'd see it in the way front offices react, in the way analysts shift their predictions, and in the way fans start dreaming again. This is the kind of signing that doesn't just add a player. It changes the entire atmosphere of the sport. But the most interesting part is how this would affect Harper himself, because he's always been a player who thrives under scrutiny. He has never been one to shy away from the spotlight, and he's always carried himself like a player who knows he belongs in the biggest moments. If he really is joining the Dodgers, the pressure would be intense, but he's the kind of guy who seems to feed off that energy. You can already imagine him stepping into the batter's box with that same confident stare, knowing the entire stadium is watching, knowing the cameras are on him, and still performing like it's just another day. That's the kind of presence that can lift a team, and if he truly has the mindset that he's ready to deliver, the Dodgers could be getting the most dangerous version of Bryce Harper. Now, let's shift to the part that would make every fan nervous: the money and the expectations that come with it. Harper is not just a player, he's a brand, and signing him would mean the Dodgers are committing to a future where every season is measured by championships. The pressure to deliver would be massive, because when you pay that kind of price, fans start expecting results immediately. There's no room for adjustment periods or settling in. Every swing, every at-bat would be analyzed like it's a make-or-break moment. But if Harper can handle that pressure, if he can stay healthy, and if he can deliver the kind of production he's capable of, then the Dodgers could be looking at a level of offense that rivals any era in baseball history. Of course, the other side of the coin is the chemistry factor, because when you bring in a star, you have to consider how he fits with the clubhouse. The Dodgers have a roster filled with talent, and sometimes adding a personality like Harper can create friction, but it can also elevate the entire group, because players often respond to someone who brings a winning mentality and a competitive fire. The key would be how the team handles it behind the scenes, how the leadership steps up, and whether Harper can blend his intensity with the team's existing culture. If it works, it could create a perfect storm of talent and confidence. If it doesn't, you could see the kind of drama that derails even the most talented teams. And finally, the most exciting part is the potential for immediate impact, because you can already imagine the home runs coming off the bat with that Dodgers uniform on. Harper has always been a power hitter who can change a game in one swing. And if he's truly joining the Dodgers, you can expect the lineup to become even more fearsome. The Dodgers are already known for their offensive firepower, but adding Harper would take them to a new level. It would also change how opposing pitchers approach the entire lineup, because suddenly there's a threat in the middle of the order that can change the game at any moment. And if the rumors are true, you can bet the home runs would start coming immediately, because that's just the kind of player Harper is. If the Dodgers really are serious about signing Bryce Harper, then it's not just a headline. It's a strategic move that signals their intention to control the next era of baseball. Think about the message it sends to the rest of the league. The Dodgers aren't waiting for the perfect moment, they're creating it. They are essentially telling everyone else that they're willing to do whatever it takes to stay on top. And that includes taking big risks. And with a player like Harper, the risk comes with huge potential reward. It's the kind of move that can either define a franchise or haunt it for years. But the Dodgers have always been a franchise that embraces big decisions. And if they truly believe Harper is the missing piece, then this could be one of the most significant acquisitions in recent history. Now, the big question becomes, how will this change the Dodgers' lineup and strategy? Adding Harper would force a lot of adjustments, because you have to figure out where he fits best, how he affects the batting order, and how the team balances the lineup. The Dodgers have always been flexible with their strategy, but Harper's presence would change the dynamic in a major way. Pitchers would have to respect him, and that means more opportunities for the players around him. It would also mean that opposing teams might start pitching differently, trying to avoid giving Harper anything to hit. That could open up the rest of the lineup, creating opportunities for other hitters to step up. It's the kind of shift that could make the entire offense more dangerous, simply because pitchers would have to account for the added threat. But the rumor also raises questions about the financial side, because signing Harper would require a massive commitment. The Dodgers are no strangers to big contracts, but this would be one of the most significant financial moves in recent memory. The pressure to justify that investment would be constant, and every performance would be scrutinized. The fans would demand results, the media would dissect every swing, and the team would be under constant pressure to deliver a championship. But if Harper performs at the level he's capable of, then the investment could be worth it. It would also set a precedent for the future, showing that the Dodgers are willing to go all in for elite talent. And that kind of message can have ripple effects, influencing free agency and the way other teams approach building their rosters. Now, let's talk about the reaction from fans, because if this rumor is true, the Dodgers fan base would go absolutely wild. There would be excitement, optimism, and a renewed belief that the team is building something special. But there would also be skepticism, because fans have seen big signings fail before. The key would be how the team handles expectations and how Harper responds to the pressure. If he shows up ready to perform, the fans will embrace him instantly. If there's a slow start, the criticism could be loud and relentless. But that's the nature of big signings, and Harper has always been the kind of player who thrives on proving people wrong. If he's truly motivated by the challenge, then the Dodgers could be getting a player who is ready to make a statement. Another important aspect is how this signing would affect the rest of the league, because it would change the balance of power. Other teams would have to decide whether to respond with their own big moves or try to compete through different strategies. It could spark a wave of signings and trades as teams scramble to stay competitive. The Dodgers will be setting a new standard, and that kind of move can create a domino effect across the league. And in a sport where momentum and confidence are everything, adding a player like Harper could be the difference between being good and being unstoppable. The ripple effects would be felt for years, and it would be a story that dominates conversations across the sport. And finally, the most thrilling part of all is the possibility of immediate home runs, because that's the kind of impact Harper is known for. You can imagine the first time he steps up in a Dodgers uniform, the anticipation, the tension, and then the crack of the bat. If the rumors are true, the home runs would come fast, because Harper is a player who hits with authority. The Dodgers already have a lineup that can score runs in bunches, and adding Harper would make them even more dangerous. Opposing teams would have to prepare for a lineup that can change the game in an instant, and that kind of threat can be enough to tilt the entire season. If this rumor turns out to be real, the Dodgers could be entering a new era of dominance, and the home runs would be the first sign of it. But before we move forward, don't forget to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest news about the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the news, so drop a comment below. If the Dodgers are truly bringing BRYCE Harper into their lineup, the biggest question that starts circulating is how this affects the clubhouse dynamic. Because a move like this is not just about talent. It's about personality, leadership, and chemistry. Harper has always been a player who brings intensity and confidence wherever he goes, and that kind of presence can either elevate a team or create tension, depending on how the existing leaders react. The Dodgers already have a strong culture, but adding a star with such a dominant personality could shift the balance, forcing veterans to step up in different ways. The key would be whether Harper can integrate into the group without trying to overpower it, because the best teams are those where talent blends with unity. If the Dodgers manage to make this work, it could create a new level of energy and focus where everyone feels the urgency to win. But if the chemistry doesn't click, you could see the kind of internal drama that turns a promising season into a struggle. And that's what makes this rumor so fascinating. It's not just a signing, it's a test of the team's identity. And then there's the media storm that would follow, because a signing like this would create non-stop coverage, speculation, and debate, and the pressure would be relentless. Every game would become a storyline, every at-bat would be analyzed, and every moment would be turned into a headline. The Dodgers are used to being in the spotlight, but adding Bryce Harper would elevate that spotlight to a whole new level. Analysts would start comparing this move to historic signings. Fans would argue over whether it was the right decision, and the entire baseball world would be watching to see if the move pays off. The interesting part is that the pressure could actually benefit Harper because he has always thrived under scrutiny and has a history of responding to critics. If he uses the media noise as motivation, it could fuel a season where he performs at an elite level. But if he lets the pressure get to him, the expectations could become a burden, and that's what makes this rumor feel so dramatic. The outcome is uncertain, and that uncertainty is what keeps people talking. Finally, the most exciting part of all is the possibility that this move could create a new era for the Dodgers, one where they're not just contenders, but the team everyone else is chasing. Adding a player like Harper would signal that the Dodgers are not satisfied with being good. They want to be unstoppable, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get there. The lineup would become even more intimidating, the offense would become more explosive, and the team's confidence would skyrocket. Opposing pitchers would be forced to approach games differently, and the entire strategy of the league would shift. But beyond the strategy, the real impact would be on the fan base, because Dodgers fans would suddenly feel like they are part of something historic, like they are witnessing a moment that could be remembered for years. If this rumor turns out to be true, it could be the kind of move that defines a season and maybe even defines a generation of Dodgers baseball. That's all for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with exclusive news about the Los Angeles Dodgers, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. See you in the next video.